Listen, communication itself is a human right. Why can't I have the same access?
The inequities that the deaf face today are really way too many. The gap is too large. And some people may say, well, who cares? Well, first, it's the 21st century, so everyone should care. I've said it a million times. It's not hard. If it was hard, I wouldn't have it.
Imagine yourself in our shoes. It could be your family member. It could be your child, your neighbor, your friend, a colleague. All of our lives are impacted. This is not just deaf people, disabled people. This is all of us. We're impacted through this experience. There are plenty to point out in terms of inequalities, but most importantly, I would say, is mobile communication access. Not having full access equivalent to my hearing peers. When I leave my home, and if something were to happen, and I need to place an E911 call, on my mobile device, I'm not able to send the specific location where I'm at, where hearing people can. Their devices can. So it takes longer for me to get a first responder on the scene through my E911 calls. That's an inequality, and that can be a matter of life or death. I also have to carry 2 different phone numbers, one specific for my video relay service calls and one for my texting capabilities. I'm not able to give one phone number out, which often causes major confusions. I miss phone calls because of that, I miss messages because of that, but that's one of many inequalities today for the deaf and hard of hearing community.
I'm speaking as a deaf person, Black deaf woman, person of color, and I go out the door and I know I'm already facing these things. Inequality, barriers, communication lacking, and of course, I will keep living my life as I should, but the stress level to have to figure it out, what are my tools? If I don't have my tools, I'm not able to thrive, and people don't have to think about it, some of them. So they don't have to do the extra step like we do. We can't always assume that individuals will be able to be okay and cope well and get on the bus and the train, an airplane, or go to school or go to work or even at home. Just those little things, we still have to figure out, how do we live and function and get that equitable treatment? I'm here, I'm human, just like you.
The reality deaf people face today is accessibility. That's still a big problem. It's the 21st century. So what is the excuse now?
There's no one at the FCC that doesn't want to do right for the community, and I do believe them. What is getting in the way of solving this is all the other priorities. And what I'm standing for is there's no more important priority. I'm standing for make this a priority. Force this to be the conversation. Solve it.
Well, I worked at the FCC. The FCC is the only government body that has a role in decision-making in regards to the TRS-VRS program. They mean well. You can see it. They're very receptive. They're open to listening, but they don't really understand. They don't get what it takes to close the gap when it comes to accessibility. It's never happened because of a lack of understanding, because of a lack of some of the individuals there. Come on, it's time to make a decision. You need to take action and see that the gap is closed.
Everybody has the right to live their life exactly how they see fit.
No one really understands unless you listen, pay attention to what we have to say. We're taxpayers, we're voters, we have the same rights. Why do I have to be behind when I pay the same taxes as my hearing neighbor? We're the same. My family members, we're the same. Yet I don't have full access. Why? We're contributors in society today, but yet we still lag behind. Why? No one's listening. No one's listening. No one is really taking the time, pausing, thinking about when they design a new product, when they make a decision, they don't pause and take into consideration this marginalized group of people. How do we improve their lives? We, the deaf community, are exhausted. Talking about 2011, filing a list. 12 years later, we fight. We complain, we speak out. Yet, 12 years have passed and here I sit, still having the same argument with people about minimum standards and good enough.
Solve the accessibility, solve the inequality, because we're fighting for so long all the aspects of, social justice, accessibility, disability rights, all of that. Why keep going to the next century, 22nd century, can't even imagine, and still having this conversation? So we need to start now to fight and work together to solve, because your future partner or family member, friend, whoever you know, they're gonna have some type of disability that will require accommodation, and you don't want to go through the frustration that we're already experiencing.
The community doesn't have that access. They don't have that luxury, only because it's just a really broken program. Easy to fix, just needs investment. The list is crystal clear. Unfortunately, those inequities, they continue to grow. And the program needs to ensure that every option of access at work, at home, or on the go is provided to this community. And then sit back and watch them flourish.
As a deaf person, what I want from hearing people is to become our partners, to understand us. We're in the same boat. You and I are the same. There are things you can do to support us, to stand with us, to push this agenda, close the gap.
Everybody deserves equal access to technology, and then they can decide how they want to use it.
Remember, the more we all stand together, we'll make a greater impact for future generations, to the children, grandchildren, their friends. They'll have full access.
Respect our communication access rights.
Stand up and break the communication barriers. Communication independence we deserve.
We need you to fight with us.
Let you know I'm human, just like you.
We've come a really long way, but we're not there. But we're so close to doing the right thing once and for all, and we can all sit around and be proud of it, but then we have to hold everybody accountable to constantly making sure this community is never forgotten again.